Hello everyone, I am Minirose Lubitania, and for today's video, I am going to discuss the forms of arts, but I only select 4 of them, and they are poetry performance, performance art, dance, and theater. But first, let us define what is art. What is art? Art is the expression or application of human creative skill and imagination, typically in a visual form such as painting or sculpture, producing works to be appreciated primarily for their beauty or emotional power. Now, let us discuss the first form of art, which is the poetry performance. It is a broad term encompassing a variety of styles and genres. In brief, it is poetry that is specifically composed for or during a performance before an audience. Tips on how to make poems. Select a topic or title, make a gateway line, focus on sensory details, and use word repetition. Tips on how to deliver a poetry. Eye contact, projection, enunciation, facial expressions, gestures, and memorization. Now first is eye contact. You must maintain to have eye contact on your audience so that they will pay attention and focus on your performance. Next, number 2 is projection. So in projection, you are projecting yourself as if you are what your poem means. So say for example, the poem entitled, Para sa lahat ng hindi pa nakaka-move on. From that poem, you can project yourself as if you are one of those hindi pa nakaka-move on. So in that way, audiences can also feel the emotions of a person who are still trying to move on. Okay, number 3 is enunciation. Enunciation and pronunciation are the best pairs you must consider in delivering a spoken poetry so that the audience will form a better impression because of the clarity and accuracy of the words. Number 4 is facial expressions. So in facial expressions, all you have to do is to show your personal emotions depending on the theme or genre of your poems, whether it's happy, sad, surprised, angry, or even feeling scared. Okay, number 5 is gestures. So in gestures, you are simply moving your hands or head, which lead to a better communication towards your audience about the messages or ideas that you want to express. And lastly is memorization. So in memorization, you have to understand your poem deeper. Do not memorize the poem like it's a plain memorization, but memorize the poem by heart and try to make connections between you and your poem. Here are some examples of common poetry and performers in the Philippines. Now let us move on to our second form of art, which is the performance art. It is an artwork or art exhibition created through actions executed by the artist or other participants. It may be witnessed live or through documentation, spontaneously presented to a public in an interdisciplinary mode. The first example is illusions, where performers use props and tricks that look so real and audience mostly believe in them. Puppetry, the use of hand puppets like human, animal, and other things, where hands and arms control them using strings. Mime, it is an acting which only uses movements, gestures, and facial expressions only. In other words, it is a silent art. Music operas are an art form which tells a story through singing without using microphones. There are many examples of performance art, but I only mention few of them. Moving on to our next form of art, which is dance. This is the meaning of dance. Example of dance are ballet, ballroom, contemporary, hip-hop, jazz, tap dance, folk dance, modern dance, and swing dance. Moving on to our last form of art, which is theater. Theater is a collaborative form of performing art that uses live performers, usually actors or actresses, to present the experience of a real or imagined event before a live audience in a specific place, often a stage. Common forms of theater performances are pantomime and performance art. Types of theater performances: political, comedy, and tragedy. That's the overall content of this video. I hope that you learned something. Have a nice day, everyone.